Hello, good evening, and welcome back. So, were you hoping that your medical history was confidential? Well, not when it comes to your vaccination status, as a security flaw is exposed on the NHS COVID jab booking website that allows users to work out another person's vaccine status. If you know their name, date of birth, and postcode, which is predominantly something that an employer would be aware of, then they can find out the particular person's vaccination status, whether that be haven't had anything yet, just one, or both. And in fact, if they've already had one, then you can go ahead and book in their second appointment for them just by providing those details. So, of course, they are personal details that most people shouldn't know. However, of course, I'm sure you've got friends who would know, and it wouldn't be that difficult to find out your name, date of birth, and postcode should somebody wish to be able to find those details, in which case they can find out about your vaccination status. Right. Let's leave it at only being able to find your vaccination status, because that does seem to be the case at the moment, instead of being able to understand your comprehensive medical history. Cool. So what can be done with that? Well, it is quite easy, and the bit that we're going to primarily focus on here is, of course, on employment rights and the like. Insofar as your employer may decide to either hire or fire you based on your vaccination status, which is something that they can ascertain quite easily. Of course, it isn't something that they're legally permitted to do, but nonetheless, of course, lawyers get paid so much for a reason, and that is because the laws are kept in such a grey area, so that you can get away with pretty much anything, provided that you pay enough for it, because you'll find somebody who knows somebody who can find a way around it. It isn't simply paying somebody who is better at their job, it is paying somebody who knows the judge that is going to be deciding on the case, and therefore is going to sway in your favour. It's corruption at the end of the day. So yeah, you think you're paying more for a better lawyer, but you're essentially paying a bribe. Funny that, but yeah, that's our legal system. So in doing that, of course, it helps the bigger corporations much more than the classic, what they would call mar and par stores. And what that means is that it's the same companies that have got their state-enforced monopolies that are going to be able to dictate national policy when it comes to national mandate of vaccinations and the like. So, yeah, it is quite a serious security flaw, given it isn't just Joe Blogs who are able to look in and check, which is bad enough given that, hey, you know, you've got personal private information that you do not want becoming public. That's the point of it being private. But also, of course, the ways that it can be used against you is quite obviously by your employer being able to find out those details, but also anybody else who wishes to cause trouble, if they would happen to see you not wearing a mask or at an event with more than 6 other people or anything like that, that they can say, yeah, well, you can't claim your vaccination status because, as we can see, you haven't got it. So there we go. And as I say, the same goes for employers. If they're thinking, well, I understand that the vaccinations can be a little bit controversial, and therefore I don't wish to have anybody hired who doesn't wish to take a vaccination, then I'm simply going to use that little filtering process in order to ensure that I get the results that I want. And the very disturbing line of defense that they would have is that although it's illegal to check it that way and make the decisions in that manner, it's also illegal to try and find that information yourself to build up a defense, of course, because it would mean having to search for other people as well in order to discern a pattern, which you would not get permission from them for doing, so you wouldn't really be able to prove it, and that is what puts them in such a sticky situation. Are there ways around it? Well, yes, quite straightforward. That's what passwords were made for, that you register your account and then decide if you wish to receive that vaccination or not. So yeah, that is one simple way around it. Another way is, of course, to simply keep it between the doctor and the patient, and therefore not have it publicly available. So there are a few ways to quite easily get around this, which to be quite honest, they really should have thought about beforehand, but we all understand that the government doesn't really have a great understanding of consequences for their current actions. And so if it is state-controlled, you're pretty fucked, because there isn't just a trial run for some people, but no, everybody's fucked over by the same system. And good luck having them learn from mistakes, because there aren't any punishments for them not learning from mistakes. It's all a very safe job, because after all, it's public work. But that's how it stands. And that's the end of this. Just to know that, by all means, give it a go now. Go onto their portal, and you will see that the 40-year-olds and over are eligible, of course, for their vaccine, as well as those with a learning disability, frontline health or social care workers, and those who receive a carer's allowance, who get support following an assessment by the local authority or GP record shows they're a carer. So any of those as well are also eligible for getting a jab from one of the vaccinations provided by companies which have absolutely no legal recourse should you have any issues with the vaccine. That, for whatever bloody reason, they've been waived of all criminal wrongdoing and possible side effects or damages caused by their vaccinations. So that's a bloody good gig if you can get it, isn't it? Yeah, I bet they're laughing all the way to the bank. But nonetheless, let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think, actually, no, it's good. It's good to be open and honest. And this kind of thing, there's no need for it to be personal information. How's about we all know what people think, not just by what they say, but actually what they're doing. And so having this publicly available is fantastic for journalism and transparency. Oh, if you think, no, if we're going to have it one way of you're not allowed to see it and yet there's a way to access it, then we're going to have to say there shouldn't be a way to access it. But if you're saying that it's perfectly legal to bar somebody because of their vaccination status, then just come out with it, and then it makes sense for it to be more easily accessible. But let me know what you guys think down below. Always intrigued to what you guys have to say. And of course, as always, until next time, have a good one.